but it's super cool. Yeah, there's goats in the backyard, Frenchies everywhere.
Thank you.
It's a little oasis. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I've never lived like that. It's crazy. I've never even lived in like kind of like a country section like that. So it's definitely a culture shock.
Yeah, but then you go into the city, and the city's kind of a different story. You know, like you were explaining to me the other day, and I was just kind of shocked by this. Like the police kind of like gave up.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So they, like I said, they shot a guy. They shot quite a few guys, but there was one that sparked a DOJ investigation. So after the DOJ investigation, yeah, you had cops just blatantly telling you like, yeah, we don't hurry up. We park around the corner, wait for the criminals to leave, and then address the call.
Like,
so
what a criminal haven that's created. You know, like I think if you look in, there's a lot of large cities that I think are kind of affected by stuff like that. Like, you know, San Francisco, most notably, you know, like New York, you have Walgreens that are leaving. You have like, you know, just huge token on the corner stores that have been there for forever. Just like, no, we can't do this anymore. Well,
and at the same time, it's funny you say that because I think some similar stuff happened in San Francisco and Cali. But at the same time they were doing that like DOJ investigation, they did like a bail reform. So instead of like making people have a bail to bond out of jail, they just started releasing everybody on their own recognizance. Yeah. So number one, the bail bonds companies got fucked. They like literally closed down. But it started just catch and releasing criminals. Yeah. So for whatever they were doing, you know, I think the only way you'd get stuck in jail is if it was like bodily harm crime. So as long as you didn't hurt anybody, you could steal cars, you could home invade, you could do anything, you know, as long as you didn't hurt anybody and get right out of jail the next hour.
I think it's a good comparison to why so many people are in the black market in California, for instance.
Yeah.
Like you can commit what would be considered like multiple years in prison in Texas. You can do over there and they're like, have a nice day. Yeah. You know, like they don't care. And because of that, it creates such a haven for cannabis. I mean, I think also geographically, California has always been, you know, it's got, you know, a real enemy of marijuana growth is moisture, you know, it molds and stuff. So, you know, because of that, you know, and also mountains and stuff, people could hide out there. A lot of people, you know, it's always been kind of an outlier area. There's a lot of areas where people can go, but now, I mean, just because it's been so culturally ingrained, I mean, I've always felt like legalization in California was really going to kill California in a really bad way. And it was simply because, you know, like growing up around it, or not really necessarily growing up, be involved early on, 215 days, there were so many people who just had this free market, you know what I mean? And that supported so many families. Like I knew people that were ex-veterans that would grow and then they would make 13 grand a year, but they would live off that. And they lived up in the mountains in Mariposa, California, you know? And now with legalization, they can't do that shit anymore.
Well, see, a lot of people shunned legalization for that reason. Yeah. Because it did kill, you know, and I think black market's such a horrible word for it because there's like, you know, black market for like organ transplant and all kinds of like shitty stuff around the world. Yeah. I think it's more the traditional market because one thing nobody can deny is that there wasn't a regulated market before. So the traditional market of cannabis, cannabis products, cannabis grows, cannabis extracts, all of that is just that, the traditional market. So anybody that's an OG in the game, anybody that's been doing this longer than, I don't know, 10 plus years, 15 plus years, they were a criminal at one point in, you know, the country's mind, in their state's mind, whatever.
I think that's one of the reasons, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of embrace the black market stamp. Yeah. Because it's something that was like, I think now with a lot of the things that you see, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's one of the things that I really like about your company. You know what I mean? It was like, it was built in from a very different angle than a lot of the other people that you see, like, you know, the quote unquote Chads and other stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you paid your dues before this happened. You know what I mean? Exactly. You saw where it was going. You hopped in. You already had a knowledge of it. And that's most likely why, you know, amongst other things, most likely why you're very successful.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, but, you know, I would say, you know, like I really kind of embrace the black market stamp because it's like, not necessarily the black market, but it's just
legacy.
Like, yeah. Well, you know, it's just kind of like, yeah, dude, like, you know, I'm a drug war veteran, dude. Like, you know, 100%. I faced time over stuff like that.
Fucking veteran.
Yeah. I faced time over it. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody who hasn't. And I know quite a few people who have actually, you know, really done significant amounts of time over marijuana.
And the sad part, people are still catching cases in different places. You know, we've had some talks and you know, shot out, and you know, heart goes out to anybody dealing with the fucking case right now. It's the worst. There's a lot of places around the world, around the country, that are still fully prohibiting cannabis, like it's fucking heroin, you know, and but it's wild.
And at the same time, you can buy THCA flower from a gas station there, though.
100%. Well, and I mean, you can get it. You can get it shipped to you, and you know, almost anywhere in the country. And you got to think, you know, what the fuck? 2024. Why hasn't the entire universe realized that cannabis is fucking fairly harmless, and that we can all make a lot of money? You know, and people can be happy. You're not going to stop anybody from fucking smoking weed.
I think the most important thing that you just said there, though, is like, we can all make a lot of money. I'm not necessarily sure that's the fact, though. Like, because like, if everybody does it, then it's just kind of like, ultimately at the end of the day, like, that's why everybody guns for this, like, high, like, you look at Oklahoma, there might be some people making money there. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, as somebody who purchases, you know, equipment from distressed facilities, you know what I mean? Like, I come in these things, it's sad. You know what I mean? I was talking earlier about how it's like, it's almost like you're coming into like a company that's on hospice. You know what I mean? They're just like limping along, they're barely alive, and they're selling off their equipment because they just like, they need to just, it's beyond stop loss now. Now it's just like, hey, whatever we can scrounge up from what we once thought was like a great idea. You know, it's when you have this overly saturated market, what happens is the price just drops down super low. And I mean, you see it every year, you know, it's just supply and demand. It's pretty simple. But, you know, that's why I think that there are also a lot of people that are pissed off about who gets involved in the market now, too. Like when we're talking about like Chads and like, you know, people who did pay their dues and who didn't, like whatever. You know, everybody has a right to do it. That's what I believe.
Well, and the truth about it is, and I'm sure you've seen it, there are very few, you know, legacy OG extractor growers that even own their own companies. You know, I mean, there's a handful, you know, shout out to them. But there's very few. And it seems like Chads and investors and all this other shit that comes into like any type of business has just taken over cannabis in a sense. And I think that's why there's so much emphasis on the legacy brands, on the, you know, the real motherfuckers that, you know, actually even use cannabis. Fuck, most of these guys don't even use cannabis nowadays.
To give you an idea, and this may come off as a bunch of shit talk, because that's exactly what it is. But like, that's how a lot of these extraction companies fucking exist, dude.
100%.
Like, how the fuck does Apex, that makes CO2 machines, fucking exist? Because some fucking dentist decided that he wanted to own a lab, bro. That's how that happened. And he didn't hire somebody such as yourself or me to come in and be like, hey, maybe that's not a good idea, dude. Like, still to this day.
Well, look at the prices of those systems.
Oh my God.
Look at the entry level on those systems, $250,000. Like, you know what I mean? For a big CO2 system.
And look at the output that it gets, dude. Like, all you need to do is just like,
we proved Bucket Tech was better. We proved fucking Bucket Tech made a cleaner product in a fucking garage. I mean, you didn't even need anything.
I'll tell you a cool story. In Adelanto, California, I was running 2,000 pounds a day using, in essence, giant Bucket Tech. I had a crane that would drop a cage with giant, they were like almost gym bags, but they were like, you know, fine micron mesh into a giant vat, chilled by a huge Mitex chiller down to like, down to negative 48C. And I was running 2,000 pounds a day. And I'd take it out, it would go down a conveyor belt.
Would you screw press it, or how'd you
No, then it would, then the bags would go directly into this huge centrifuge that I bought at auction, and like literally had to grind a bunch of rust off of it and then repainted it.
Love it.
2,000 a day, dude. It's true.
You know, if you look back and you see you've seen so much of the industry evolve from, you know, people not knowing a fucking thing to this kind of release of open source information to the saturation state by state. And it's crazy because I've watched you and I've followed your career, and I've seen your career change. And like we were just talking about, you know, what do we title you as? And you're like, I wear a lot of hats. And you're just talking about it. You now buy equipment and you sell equipment, and you know, that was probably something you never thought about when, you know, learning how to make hash and fucking blasting back in the day.
Well, I think also I mean, if you look at different, like we're talking about like having to involve like Chads and dentists and crap like that. I don't know why I keep shitting on dentists. I got
fucking dentists, man.
I had a dentist.
Cocksuckers, bro.
I had a fucking dentist and try and start a laugh with me one time. It's a fucking idiot. You know, anyways, that's why I just keep shitting on him left and right now, dude.
Nobody likes a fucking
I know,
dentist.
dude. I need to go. I went to a dentist in Mexico, Tijuana one time. It was the most gnarly experience of my life, dude. Like,
dude, you have got so many stories from abroad, bro. You have been everywhere.
She came over with a giant needle. I was like, you touch me with that shit, I'll punch you. Dude, it's huge. I was like, this is hurting. You're making like blood just running out of my mouth. She comes over with this. She's like, I'm like, this is hurting. You need to stop. And she's like, oh, okay, 1 second. Comes over with a needle. It was like one of the old reusable, you see Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
He shoots up with like that crazy screw-on needle. It was like that, but bigger. She comes over to me and I'm like, dude, that's going in my gums. I know it is. I looked at her and I was like, it's not happening.
Just took the pain.
There's also a dog running around in the middle of it too.
Inside the dentist's office.
Yeah, and like weird Hobby Lobby art all over the walls. It was fucked up. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. It was stupid as shit.
Fucking dentist.
And you know why I went to her? Because the place that looked really nice was like $40 more. No, it was like $20 more. I'm like, fuck that. In my search for a bargain, dude, fucked myself up.
I don't think bargain shopping is necessarily a good thing when doing medical procedures.
Dental work, yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the place where you want to spend a little more.
Yeah.
You know, treat yourself.
Yeah. Speaking of treating yourself and having nice shit. You have one of the nicest, most beautiful labs I've ever seen, brother. What the fuck?
You're fucking nice, dude.
Dude, no, seriously though, it's fucking nice.
So in cannabis and business, if you don't just spend all your money, you just have to give it away to the government. So when we make money, we just spend it all on nice shit and hopefully spend enough of it to not have to give it all to the fucking feds.
It's really nice. Like, I've been to places that have definitely spent more.
Yeah.
But like they spend it on dumb shit, like an Apex or something like that. I'm like, oh, you idiot. You know what I mean? Like it's every decision in there is like pretty wisely done. Like
so
I've got no qualms with anything that you have in there. And I would tell you.
Thank you.
I'd be like, okay, like maybe no, dude, I'm struggling right now.
Thank you. No, and I'm a former extractor, you know, I haven't extracted in a while, but I'm, you know, owner operator. So I really, when we purchase things, I think about would I like to use this equipment? What, you know, what equipment do I want? What would what would make my life, excuse me, Jesus. What would make my life better?
Corona.
Yeah. I guess I don't usually drink beer on the podcast. Yeah. But yeah, when I make purchases, I think what would make my life better and what would I be like stoked to operate on?
Right.
And I think that my guys and any employees in that sense, if you have nicer equipment, if you're really thinking out what you're doing for them and what they, you know, the kind of environment that they have to work in, I think that just creates a better product. You know, happy employees make better products.
I think that there's an analogy that I kind of use when I'm describing something, like, for instance, like with a busy bee machine. You know what I mean? It's like, look, I can make you very similar product, if not almost identical product in, geez, now I'm going. The hell? Well, brought to you by Corona. You know, you can make a lot of identical product with it. I mean, look, it functions as tubes and you know what I mean? Like it's literally, it's going to, of course, be a 10 on it. You know what I mean? But anyways, what I'm saying is that, look, if you're going to use certain equipment every day, I mean, like, just like you're going to drive a car every day. Well, I'd rather drive a Rolls Royce, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, I'm going to get up from like my house to work or, you know, from the store to wherever you're going. Yeah. But, you know, man, it's kind of nice to do it with swage lock, right?
Fuck yeah. No, nice equipment, man, is just better. Just like you're saying, it's like having a nice vehicle. You know, granted, I think there's very little that separates, you know, good product in the industry right now. Right. And I don't think it's necessarily equipment, but when you have a nice facility, when you have nice equipment, when you have a great team, when everything kind of goes together, when you got good media, good branding, I think it creates this like perfect feng shui that pushes the brand to better heights. And I mean, that's our, you know, that's what we're going for anyways. And I've seen it happen with a lot of other companies, and I'm sure you have too. You need that kind of full package.
I think also reputation too. Like people
100%.
like supporting stuff that they know is, you know, coming from a place that's genuine and coming from somebody that they like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like supporting shit from people that I don't like.
Well, fuck, dude. I've, you know, fucking, they made that big old deal, you know, about fucking Jimmy John's killing all the fucking tigers and, you know, elephants and all. He's a trophy hunter. But he's like, he goes after like endangered species and shit. So like, you know, I don't have a problem with hunting and, you know, I don't have a problem with any of that shit. But when I heard that about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of fucked up, man. You got to go kill the last fucking rhino and shit. You know what I mean? And, I think when you, when you got to be liked, you know what I mean? Because if you have something about you that everybody really doesn't like, it can be detrimental to fucking your brand.
Well, I consider you a pretty cool dude.
Thank you.
Nice compliment.
You're a pretty cool dude too.
Thanks, man. Should we turn these cameras off right now?
Well, you asked Jesh if he was going to film porn on the fucking Black Magic earlier.
I
told him, yeah, bro.
He has a very large camera.
I didn't say no.
You just said it usually doesn't pay enough. So it's just so you know about Jesh. He's experienced.
Just so you guys know, it's got a big splash guard on the front of it.
It's called a mat box.
It's called a splash guard.
I would, you know, that's what I went for right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, all right, that would be pretty tragic, honestly.
Could you imagine if you're trying to produce this feature film
and
all of a sudden,
a picture, dude. I already got it. Yeah.
All of a sudden you got something in your eye.
Throwing it away. I'm not cleaning.
We're gonna edit this part out. Leave it in.
Leave it in. No, it's natural. It goes.
Yeah.
I mean, they call you Durty Harrie for a reason, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah. That's just the way my mind works, I guess. Anyways, yeah. Here's a real hot take. This is something that people will disagree with, but I think that conversion oil is way better for you than any type of traditional oil that people are using. Yet if you go to California right now and you look at the price for a kilo of traditional oil versus a kilo of conversion oil, you will see a large price discrepancy. Yet you will not see a difference in potency. In fact, oftentimes you'll see a higher percentage.
Well, and I know what you're getting at too. I'm
talking about Delta 9.
The converted oil has been through more process and it's clean.
It's been through, it started with isolate, which is in CBD, which is most likely not using myclobutanol because it knows it's going to extraction. It's going very large. And it's...
What a wild concept. I've never had anybody push that concept, and you're fucking right. It's true. If you're talking right now, the traditional market across the country, you know, which is mixed with real cannabis Delta 9 and CBD hemp, you know, isolate Delta 9.
Which for the record, there is no difference.
The molecule is a molecule.
A molecule is a molecule. Thank you very much. Nuts on that.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people get that. You know, and what we've talked about in the past is the only difference and the only dangers on the conversion side are going to be improper chemistry. Yeah. You know, and unfortunately, it's kind of a mix of that right now. There's not everybody that's converting is not making, you know, beautiful, clean product. Yeah. There's a lot that are.
I'm not going to say the full names of the chemicals, but like diiso and triiso and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you got to do a lot of water washes. You got to do a bunch of stuff like that. I'm not going to claim to be a chemist or anything like that, but you know, I've been privy to the process quite a bit. I've done quite a bit of it myself. You know, yeah, there's definitely steps that you want to do in order to share that, but it's very, very easy. It's water washes. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's easier than removing myclobutanol from traditional cannabis. I'll tell you that. Yeah. Way easier. Way easier.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I've never actually thought about it that way. I guess we're just, like I said, we're privy in this market to not have to deal with all that shit, especially not Eagle 20. For those of you that don't know, you know, myclobutanol is Eagle 20, banned pesticide across the fucking country. California was plagued with it. I've been told
it's not banned.
It's not banned.
No. So
it's banned in New Mexico. Okay, so it's banned in New Mexico cannabis. Yeah. Specifically. It's not banned and it's an environmental hazard, which a lot of people don't realize.
It's used for tomatoes a lot.
Correct.
And then so it's used for like from an edible standpoint, it's not considered anything that's really dangerous. I'm not a doctor nor a theology. You know, I know nothing about that as far as like consuming it edibly, but I do know that when it combusts, there is a level of hydrogen cyanide and other crap that's in it. that is really bad for you. And if I really want to turn you off and freak you out, it causes impotence, which means that your dick doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I think people don't think about it. I think they don't think about it. They go and they purchase said, you know, market off the street, whatever. And they don't know where it came from. They don't know, you know what I mean? They don't know if that, you know, oh man, my hook gets it from Cali or whatever, you know, is very famous out here. And it's like, ooh, you know, that's almost a bad thing to say. Because like you said, there's so much pollution and pesticide use in that level of cannabis that, yeah, nothing's clean.
So here's my question. What is the stigma behind conversion Delta-9? Is it because it's closely related to Delta-8?
I think the stigma would just be...
It's not natural.
Yeah, I think the stigma would just be, like you said, the acid chemistry, the fear that it was done wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a COA is fucking shit nowadays. Like, unless, I mean, anybody, you know, everybody uses the same fucking COAs, and they, you know, it's not usually, you know, the law on if that product's clean or not. And so, yeah, a lot of people buy oil that says it's one thing, and they test it and it's completely different. So I guess that would be I would think the public's fear of the synthetic cannabinoid was it done right? Not necessarily is the molecule, you know, worse or not, but yeah, is it dirty, you know, physically?
Here's something that you definitely should not do at home, but it's a science experiment. You know, if you take a bunch of isolate, right? You just, like CBD isolate, super cheap. You can buy it online.
Yeah.
Okay. You put it in a pot, literally just pot on your stove. Okay. Seriously, don't do this at home. But stop, man. You're making me laugh. And then you just dump a bunch of citric acid in it. Like you can buy at Walmart. Yeah. Literally on the seasoning aisle. Or, you know, it's literally right there. And you just heat that fucker up. You know what happens?
Yeah, you get conversion.
Well, you make a lot of Delta 8 is what you'll do. I mean,
will it be Delta 8?
Yeah, it'll be Delta 8. It won't be Delta. Maybe small trace amounts.
I've never done any actual like open boiling.
You can see it though. It'd probably be like 50% Delta 8, but yeah.
But it would convert.
Oh yeah, it'd convert.
Yeah, you don't have to be under vacuum.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, if you literally were like really desperate and for some reason had the most hits isolate hookup for CBD but could not find any way to get high, you squeeze a fucking lemon in it, I bet.
Wow, that's that tech.
That's how easy it is.
That new age lemon tech. I think what Harrie's really trying to put out there is acid chemistry is not as scary as it sounds. You know, your body is acid chemistry. Exactly. And I mean, the way you digest things, the way you know, your body converts things is acid chemistry. In fact, when, you know, you consume cannabis, there's a certain level of acid chemistry that's happening in your body. But yeah, so
when you say acid chemistry, though, it kind of like brings up an image of a guy like melting in a vat.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think there's like, I think there needs to be like a nicer word for acid.
I mean, realistically, all of those conversion labs that are making Delta 8 are probably more closely related to the quality of the lab that you have here. Like,
really? Yeah, they're GMP. Well, most of them are nice.
They're all
in fucking Texas and shit.
Yeah, they're in Houston, Texas. They're in I think Tennessee allows a lot of them and stuff. They're like, yeah, they like, there's a lot of oil being sold in gas stations. These places have lots of money and they're doing it professionally. And honestly, they're doing it with chemists, and they're not, you know, so many, like when you come into a lot of these places in the cannabis space, and I've got no problem with it. I think it's great that people from all walks of life are in the lab. Like that's my favorite thing, you know, but oftentimes on consultations, I'll see, you know, a kind of two categories of people. There are people that are there to turn a valve and understand an SOP and do it exactly like that. And then there are people that are just really curious, and there are people that'll sit there and they'll kind of tinker, and you know, those people are either really awesome or they're gonna get you fucking blown up.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've seen through you know, history that's what happens.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one or the other, and
it's really tragic, honestly. Like, you know, I not to take it on like a super serious note right now, but like, you know, I know people who have died. You know, I don't know many people who have been in it long enough where they haven't experienced some brush with fire.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
It's, you know, we were talking the other day at NJ BizCon, some of my friends, and it was that, like, how many people do you think are actively extracting butane nationwide? Like, actually, like, people in that room. Like, for instance, today it would have been like, you know, with 2 people actively on that, right?
I would say it's under 10,000 operators.
I think it would be way less.
Yeah, okay. Under 1,000.
I mean, how many labs are in?
So, okay, I don't know how many solvent licenses there are here. Not many.
Okay.
I mean, let's say 50.
Okay, 50. So let's say all of them had
2 operators.
2 operators.
So that's 100 from New Mexico.
It's 100 from New Mexico. And granted, it's a smaller market, right?
But what about Cali? What do you think about Cali?
Well, let's say it's 50 times the size.
Yeah. Okay. So it's maybe under 5,000. Maybe under 5,000 in the whole country.
I think, yeah, dude, that just number even sounds like
it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but I don't even think it's that.
Yeah. No, you might be right.
I don't. I mean, I used to be involved in a spot that was rather large that made quite a bit of chatter. And I think the LA market is pretty much the market that sets the standard for what the price goes for stuff. I mean, that's just naturally how it's always been. Yeah, you know, it's a mecca there.
Motherfuckers.
I fucking hate LA, dude. I live in Orange County, all right? Don't lump me in with that.
Don't
put me in with those guys. Yeah. Beach boy. Anyways. But when we would shut down, and granted, we were making a lot.
Yeah.
When we would shut down, the market price would go up by $300 for a pound.
Wow.
Just by us being shut down.
Just by one company.
One company.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we were big. Yeah. But just to put that in perspective, though, that's what gave me kind of this idea, was that, like, there's really actually not that many people doing this.
No, and you know, you might be right. You might be right. And I think we get kind of caught up in, like, you know, because we've seen some shit. We're like, we think it's bigger than it really is.
Oh, dude, we're looking at this from, like, in front of our faces. You know what I mean? Like, realistic, this is our norm. Yeah. So, like, everybody extracts cannabis. Yeah. No, they fucking don't.
No,
they don't.
Motherfuckers still come in here and look at us like wizards and like, oh my gosh.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Goes in black, comes out gold. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, is this plant? No,
so, you might be right. It might be a lot lower.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we're a huge minority. I mean, like, I think realistically, like, there's some type of, like, this is totally undeserved and would probably offend certain people, but it's like, I feel like it's like almost like kind of soldier-esque. You know what I mean? Like, there's this level of danger that's involved with it. You know what I mean? Like, you're putting yourself at risk. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing it properly, you shouldn't be. But like, you're also reliant on people next to you who could be idiots and who could fuck that up, and that would be totally out of your control. You could get hurt. You know, it's wild to think about.
It's wild to think about, and I think that whole community doesn't get enough respect. I think, in a sense, you know, soldiers are even like pioneers. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's those extractors, those operators, those valve turners, you know, those curious ones that are poking around, fucking breaking shit. They're innovating a brand new industry that, you know, who knows where it'll go and what it'll end up. But no, it's wild to think about the actual, you know, size and kind of spectrum of it, you know, in comparison to other industry. You know, how many, you know, if you think about it, how many, you know, welders are there in the country?
Right. But
you know what I mean? And that's such a massive group.
But also too, though, like, think about it like this, like, in order to really be able to start extraction, for instance, like, how many different farms, for instance, give you biomass? So you don't have to answer an exact one, but it's got to be quite a bit, because just your capabilities of running through, right? Now you represent, so for now, every single person that grows marijuana, like, in a single day, I could possibly go through, let's say, you know, the biomass is 1-to-1, right? So if I extract 2,000 pounds in one day, doing giant bucket tech in Adelanto, that represented 2,000 pounds of marijuana that was out there, right? Yeah. Okay, now no single farmer's doing that. Well, I mean, maybe in Oregon, some of those like bigger ones that are posed as hemp and stuff. But like, I'm going through multiple different farms. I would say that the average purchase from somebody who's a trim sourcer is like anywhere from 40 to 100 pounds from somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's not these large increments. You know what I mean. But I'm capable of zipping through it like crazy. So the cannabis market as a whole may look very large from grower standpoint. You know what I mean. But as far as like the people that are actually like taking that said biomass and doing something with it, we're a minority in comparison to everybody else that's in the market.
Yeah, that's a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah,
interesting way to look at it. And yeah, you think we'd get more respect out here in these streets?
Yeah, but just on us. They're like, butane's bad for you. I'm like, no, it's not.
And that whole concept comes from nowhere. Like, where does it even come from?
You're like, it's bad for you.
You could. People don't realize you could inhale butane and
like tons of it.
It wouldn't do fucking. It doesn't do anything.
As they use their blowtorch filled with butane.
Well, how many of them has fucking smoked a bowl? It's like that's the whole.
It's combusted. There's combustion in it, right? There's way more in it combusted right there than would be in any type of.
Well, it was like being at Two Hands today. That was a fucking. I felt dirty after that. I was like, oh, it was rough.
That was probably the most gluttonous place I've ever been in my entire life. And I have been to Houston, Texas several times.
But you got to love the guy that came in with the mask on.
Oh, yeah.
With the mask on, getting ready to fucking load in 18,000 calories between 3 hot dogs.
And he had a mask on. I'm so healthy. He's like, nothing will hurt me. Let me
fucking. So I'm standing there after ordering this just massive amount of fucking crap.
Why'd you take me there, dude? That was fucked up.
I had the munchies. I seen the guys eating it. It like opened recently. I seen the guys eating it at the lunch table, and I was like, fuck, I want to try that. So we get in there and we're standing in line, and Harry walks up to me real smooth, and he goes, do you notice anything in here? And I look up from my phone, and there's like 4 like 300-pound plus tortas just sitting there, fucking huge bitches. And I'm like, fuck, man.
They were the only people in there other than the guy in the mask. And the guy in the mask was staring at the wall, but he was way too close to the wall. Like, what the fuck was that?
I don't know. But at the same time, I like noticed it and I was like, fuck, man, I'm such a fat piece of shit.
Yeah, dude,
I'm thinking to myself, and poor Harry, he's like,
I don't even fucking eat gluten,
Huntington
dude.
Beach fucking diet, fucking ready to roll.
Yeah, right, dude. I'm fat as fuck. Dude.
He's all health nut. And,
dude, no, I'm not.
And so he looks up over the big screen. Over the register, they are rolling these fucking corn dogs in sugar. And he goes, oh, sweet. Oh, sweet. They even roll it in sugar for you.
I bit into one and like, it was nothing but straight grease. And then I had to go back in and I'm like building a Pope and I'm like, all right, is everybody ready? And then I just had horrible diarrhea for a fucking 30 minutes while all your employees just stood there and waited for me. It's all your fault. I almost sent you a picture.
You broke the podcast, bro.
And like, here's the other weird thing. The name of the thing is Two Hands, and everything that they sell is shaped like a dick.
It's all phallic, yeah.
Everything's a dick, and everything looks like a dick, and it's called Two Hands.
It sucked. It was a little much. I thought it was gonna be better.
Dude, I've been to the state fair in Texas, dude. I kid you not. I mean, dude, they have fried mayonnaise there. Yeah, but no, I've had some interesting. I went to for some reason I've gotten very little sleep. For those that don't know, I'm out here installing some equipment, and I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Don for the last 3 days.
It's been nice.
I've had a really good time, and actually as soon as we get it rolling over there and all the good stuff's coming out, which is like kind of like the pride, like the ball of gold at the end of the rainbow, you know, and he's like, all right, man, come on, we got to do a podcast. I'm like, oh,
I got Jess and Shy over here with everything set up.
We're all waiting for me to have diarrhea.
Oh, those guys are over there freaking out. They're like, what the fuck do we do? The machine's all fucking smoking.
It's probably broken right now. It's broken.
We're in here fucking laughing.
Yeah, dude. Off. No, but I'm aware that this exists, but I'm just not sure why it's not more prevalent. I mean, if you think about the largest, where do you think the most cannabis biomass is globally?
I would say California. I mean, I'd love to think somewhere else. I mean, but what do you think?
I would say 5 years ago, it would have been Sinaloa, Mexico.
Okay.
I think the standard of quality of marijuana has changed over time. And
so maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Well, yeah, but still, I think that's probably when there was maybe that shift, you know what I mean? Where it kind of went over and stuff. But I think people don't really understand that there's still quite a bit there. It's always weird when I see in the news, and I see this often. They're like, oh, people smuggling marijuana from Mexico. I'm like, who the fuck is smoking that shit?
Dude, that's exactly what I think.
I'm like, honestly, if I saw a fucking pound of brickweed, I'd buy it. And then I would frame it. Because that's how I got my start selling brickweed. When I was 13 years old, I used to buy, ironically enough, from Reggie Miller's mother. Reggie Miller's a famous
basketball player, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to tell you which Reggie Miller because there's a lot of them, and I don't want to incriminate anybody. Although it's well past the statutes of limitations, but I'm not selling anybody out.
Yeah.
Anyway, famous ball players.
Yeah.
Mom, she'd sell it to me in a brown bag, and it just a hunk off of a block.
Oh yeah.
And then I would go at first period. I'd just skip that shit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And I'd sit in the bathroom with the lined paper on my lap, and I would break out just by hand.
Yeah, take all the stems and seeds out of that.
No, fuck that. I sold that shit too. I would break
you break out your bags.
Oh yeah, well I would eyeball. No, I would just fold it up in lined paper. I didn't even sell it in bags. I would just fold it up in lined paper, and then that way, when my mom was like, Harrison, you better do this, I'd be like, I got my own money, Mom. No, I'm just kidding. You met my mom, I'd never talk back to her. She beat the shit out.
Well, that's why they sent your ass to boarding school, probably.
Yeah.
Like
I was kind of...
Well, Harry's got all these paper folds.
Yeah. They kind of knew what was up. They knew I was a little mischievous fucker, so they... But, I was actually doing extraction when I was in boarding school and stuff, too. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was kind of a different type. A little bit more nefarious. Probably not one that I'm super proud of, but... when I was like 13, I figured out that you go to Canada and buy a bunch of T3s, which are like codeine and Tylenol.
Yeah.
And then you could, ironically enough, this is probably what shifted my like life path. So I'm thankful for it ultimately. But like, there's too much Tylenol in it to like get fucked up, you know? So I would like cold water extract out the codeine from it, and then I'd drink it.
Fucking A.
I was like 13, man. I don't know. I was like retarded, but
just doing a little chemistry.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I've always just kind of had a mindset where like, oh, let's figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? Like we can do something, right? I'm also like not a drug addict, for the record.
Yeah, well, and we're both in that age.
13.
We're both in that age too, where like the internet was at our fingertips, and you know what I mean. It was new. You know what I mean, when we were kids. So yeah, it was the same way. Oh, it was like, what can we get into? What can we fucking do with this? What can we do with that?
Airwood.
Yeah.
Like weird shit.
Yeah. No, and
skunk.
So I totally get it, man. It's wild. It's weird what makes a drug intrigued person next to, someone that's super square and like never wanted to do, experiment or fuck around or feel different.
I mean, I think ultimately that's just such I don't want to say a rite of passage, but I think it's part of an essential passage is questioning the reality in which you live, changing or altering your mind in some way in order to be able to look at things from different perspectives, and then ultimately deciding which ones of those are healthy for you and which ones are not. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to go out there and be like, well, you should do fentanyl, you know, like absolutely not. But, you know, I think there are healthy versions of drug usage that sometimes even up a bit extreme. I would say that consumption of LSD is pretty freaking extreme. Yeah. You know, but it's led to some of the best music that we've ever had. It's led to some pretty crazy ideas. It's led
to each their own, you know, for sure. You know, there's all, I think it just comes down to, I mean, basically we make our own drugs. Everybody makes their own drugs in their brain. That's a whole nother, you know, whole nother podcast. But I think it's just what we have a taste for, what we end up liking. Life's hard. Life's stressful. Everybody's fucking chemically imbalanced. So I think that there's just a few amount of people that aren't, that are just like, oh, I'm high on life. Well, fucking cool. Cause I need to get fucking high. So, cause I am not high on life. Yeah. So I think there's just a huge amount of people that want to feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of like cheers to that. To feeling better.
Yes, sir. I think for a ton of people that are watching this and like, oh, this guy's pretty funny. Who is this guy? I mean, dude, you're very modest. You've been around some of the largest, biggest operations in the country. You're one of the first to kind of innovate and operate and kind of push this industry to where it's gone. And you've made relationship and networked with all the OGs in the game, which is how we met, friend of a friend and, everything like that. So I think that it's really cool to have you on here and really cool to kind of highlight, you know what I mean? That you're still fucking rocking. You got all kinds of cool shit going on. Who'da thunk it?
Yeah, I know, man. It's neat to see, like, and I don't mean this offensively at all, but I guess part of the reason why I've been so impressed by what you have going on here is by how much it caught me by surprise, really, Yeah. Like, it's just like, wow, I think I've been sleeping on New Mexico. I think mainly I've been sleeping on you, dude. I think I was like, damn, man, this is cool. This is done really, really well.
Thank you.
And God, so much work to do that. I had somebody, after I was hanging out with you, and I saw that one of my buddies the other day, or last night, really. He goes, dude, why don't we start a lab? I'm like, I hear that all the time. And I'm like, well, I'll tell you why. Because you have no clue that is your life, bro. You don't casually own a lab unless you're a fucking dentist.
Fucking dentist,
bro. Fucking dentist, dude.
That should probably be the title of the show. No, people don't realize the barrier for entry is ugly. Like, if you just want to come in, and I think that's why so many people don't do it, or they don't do it right, or they do it dirty, or they cut corners because it's fucking, we bleed money. Like any operation where you want to do anything of scale, it takes tons of money to fucking just move forward, much less be profitable or popular or the brand, but just to fucking move the motherfucker forward. Payroll 100,000 plus a month, facility costs, all this shit.
That goes back to what you were saying earlier, though, and it's like, hence enter the chat. You know what I mean? Like, oh, dude, you had all these guys, and it's just like organic growth in this industry is difficult. Why? Because Busy Bee ain't gonna give you a fucking unit on consignment.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Because none of these people are going to do that. You know why? Because the failure rate of people in this industry is so astronomically high.
They won't even send that motherfucker to you till you pay in full. Yeah. So, and a lot of people don't realize that. And then for cannabis, there's no loans. You can't be like, hey, I'm going to go start a fucking honey. What do they call it? A honey oil lab.
Honey hash pot lab. Read that shit like, today in New Mexico. Well, we won't say New Mexico because they're doing shit. They're like, the California State Department has just busted a large cannabis extraction facility. Contain it, and it's like some house in fucking some nice neighborhood and shit that just had you're like
some house in fucking Long Beach.
How funny is it though that you and I recognize all the equipment that's in there? I'm like, oh, that's HSN.
Well, what's even funnier is they'll show a car or they'll show something and it's one of the homies, or you recognize the brand. So that's always not funnier, but it's always like, oh fuck.
Okay, I got a good story for you. Right? All right. This one, statutes of limitations. All right, I'm allowed to say it. One time I was moving a lab, right? Or they're coming in like fire inspection, right? At a warehouse.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you get like 24 hours notice for, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I have an operation here. You know,
I gotta take all this stuff out of
here. Yeah, like, well, fuck. Oh no. So I get a U-Haul, right? Of
course.
Oh fuck, dude.
Shout out U-Haul.
I'm about to cry. This is kind of sad, but funny at the same time. Shout out! Did you say shout out U-Haul?
Yeah, but they've helped a lot of
more drugs
a lot of legacy boys. You know,
they've more drugs than anybody did. Fucking U-Haul. Shout out USPS and U-Haul. Thanks, bros. Like fucking unsuspecting supporters of the black market. They have no clue. They're probably like, we're anti-drug. I'm like, no, you're not, homie. No, you're not.
You're an affiliate, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude. I did. Yeah, bro. You're guilty by association. You're with me now. Well, I should get a USPS tat. Shout out. Actually, dude, fuck them, dude. They steal too much.
They do.
I don't know anything about that, though.
Yeah, Big Brother tax.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, when I fight, there's no cakewalk, man.
Dad tax.
Scarface. But, all
right, so you load up the U-Haul.
All right, yeah.
You get the spot cleaned out.
Sorry, I got distracted by fucking U-Haul on it. Load up the U-Haul, put all of our shit in it. I'm talking about like 55-gallon drums of solution, or what you would call tincture. I noticed that you use that term.
The oil juice.
The oil juice. You know what I mean? Ready for the 20-liter road. And I was like, the 15, 20-liter roads. No, just kidding.
Hazy chain road.
Yeah, I had it way slicker than that. They were 40s, 50s. But okay, so we load up the back of it with all this expensive equipment, and just like, it's just supposed to sit in the U-Haul. U-Haul is not meant to be driven at all.
Yeah, because you didn't lock anything down. You didn't strap anything.
No, nothing's strapped down. It's just sitting outside there, and it's going to move right back in. Yeah. You know, it's driven like...
How many drums did you put in there of tincture? Few.
Maybe 6, and then a bunch of 5-gallon buckets of just straight crude.
Oh yeah, we know how you Cali boys roll.
Oh yeah, you know, just Home Depot buckets, dude.
Oozing buckets.
Stab a hole in the top, make sure it burps out. You know.
R.I.P. Vic.
Yeah, yeah. On my Instagram, I get this funny photo of this girl who drove down to drop off a bunch of crude way back in the day. Statute of limitation. And anything that I say, statute of limitation. Happened 15 years ago.
Harry doesn't speak about anything that's not at least a decade old.
15 years ago.
15 years ago.
Yeah. Anyways. I'm still pissed at you about 2 hands, dude. All right. U-Haul.
All right, so the U-Haul's loaded up.
Loaded up.
Outside place is cleaned up.
Cleaned up, ready for inspection. We come back to work the next day. Somebody has stolen the fucking U-Haul. Ooh. I'm like, fuck. Shit's in my wife's name, dude, at the time. I was married at the time. I was like, fuck. I'm like, this is not good. She's freaked out.
I'd imagine. Yeah. She's probably a straight-laced girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm in deep shit. So, anyways, we get a call from the cops. They're like, hey, we found your U-Haul. I'm like, great. Is any of my furniture in it? They're like, no, but you should get over here. I'm like, okay. I roll over there. The back is rolled up. There's about... It's parked on an incline.
Oh, no.
Right? So, like, the cab is lower than the tailgate. All of the buckets have spilled. There is 50 liters of crude just smeared in the back of this thing. My Pope stolen. All the equipment gone. Everything else. It's just it looks... But for them to do it... Do you remember that story of that rabbit that's like
the tar rabbit, the briar patch.
Briar rabbit or some shit.
Yeah.
These dudes must have been like that the entire time. It was just soaked, super fucked up. And the cops are like, yeah, this is really common. Yeah, they steal U-Hauls so that they can move drug labs. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, no way. And they're like...
Is there oil coming out of the back of it?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's like, it's tipped over. So the back of it, like, as soon as you drive the car out, there's about to be like 50 liters just spill on the street. You know what I mean? And I'm like, whoa, this is bad news bears. And I'm like...
do that?
Yeah, I'm like, what? Drug? What? A drug web? A drug? What? How do you say it? They're like, yes, this is a butane honey hash extraction facility. And then they like literally, they're like, all right, well, good luck. And they leave me with all of the fucking oil in the back. And I'm like, are you kidding me? The cops gave me like 50 liters of oil, and some of it's solution fucked up, but some of it's not. It's in buckets. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? And they're like, good luck. We're gonna go eat a 2 hands. See you later. You know, they just dip on me.
So what'd you do? You had to take the U-Haul,
dude. So, take it back. I just drive off, totally fuck up the back of this fucking Pizza Hut where it's parked. Like, I swear to God, like, I pretty much, like, you ever seen a mouse trap? I probably created one of those. Like, seagulls are probably stuck to that bitch to this day. I drive off and I'm like, dude, I can't. Oh, first of all, they're like, there's no keys. I'm like, how do I start it? And they're like, I don't know, any key. They broke the ignition. I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know anything about drug labs or stealing cars, you know? Like, walk up there, I turn it on. I'm like, well, that's crazy. I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, amateur, broke the dash. I'm just kidding. But anyways, so I drive into this. I know this is a really long story.
No, it's good. I love it.
So I drive into this fucking power washing place. I just start power washing it out. And it like, you ever see like diesel on top of water?
Yeah.
You know, just like pools, like crazy rainbow shapes. And it was beautiful. But anyways, this was not that beautiful because I'm just watching all my shit go down the drain, literally. I fucked that place up too, dude. That pressure wash place is covered in fucking THC, bro. Ain't no car going in there and getting cleaner than when they came in. Yeah, it's legal, THCA.
Yeah.
That's anything that I talk about was 15 years ago, and it's THCA.
Yeah. Basically.
Funny thing, citric acid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways.
Oh, God. Well, you know what's funny?
Am I the only person that's come on here and just like majorly incriminated themselves?
Pretty much. You're the only one that's made me laugh this fucking hard.
Also, don't really give a fucking...
I mean, at the end of the day, what are they going to do? They want to bust it.
This really was, honestly, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Well, you know, and sometimes you just got to let it all out.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, especially to like, you know, the internet, dude. Yeah. It's perfect.
Nobody watches.
Nobody listens to this shit. What is this?
All right, I got the question.
Definitely not this far into the podcast.
It's 9 inches. Yeah, what's up with Pdiddy? I keep hearing shit about that guy.
He's a vile character.
Oh, really?
I hear.
Is this like the new R. Kelly type shit? Are we finding out?
He's R. Kelly, but like with like guys and like young rappers.
Oh,
and there's some gay stuff in there. There's some cuck stuff. He like watching stuff, and there's some sides to it. You know,
so Dave Chappelle wasn't kidding when he's like,
killed Biggie, killed Tupac.
Oh, give me that Cambodian breast milk.
Yes,
like shit, like that's real.
So Chappelle was real. Yeah, Chappelle's a fucking.
He's a clever dude.
He's a cool dude.
Have you seen his new one?
I was just gonna say,
yeah, it's pretty like that.
Yeah, I have, and it's cool and it's still funny, but it's got this like serious tone to it. Like, oh fuck. Dude, he's seen some shit. He checked himself into a fucking mental institute because he had fucking seen too much shit in Hollywood. If you remember a while back. But yeah, Cat Williams too. He's going out and exposing everybody. So yeah, that's interesting.
That guy's weird on his own right though, dude. Don't forget, that guy's really strange. I watched him sucker punch a child and then the kid beat the shit out of him. You ever see that?
No, is it a video?
It's very real. Yes. Yeah. You can look it up. He's like standing outside of like a middle school, right? This is so dumb that we're talking about this right now, but fuck it. I'm going there anyways. Literally, just after what I just said right there, this podcast can go no lower. Okay, here's a good question for you. How long ago did you start in the medical
industry? So Pharmers as a brand started about 5 years ago.
Okay.
We took over another laboratory that was not doing well. You know, one of my original mentors, you know, just kind of expressed to me that he wanted out, he wanted to retire. You know, he's does all kinds of different stuff, and he just wasn't enthused with the cannabis industry. So yeah, we bought him out. I bought him out, and that's where Pharmers kind of rebranded that laboratory. Yeah. Now we've in a new facility, much bigger facility and everything. But yeah, that was 5 years ago during medical.
Do you think that this market has peaked, Or do you think that there's going to continuously be, well, maybe, you know, and we've talked about stuff like a bubble popping in essence. But
I do think the market's peaked.
I think the market's peaked?
Yes, I think the market's peaked.
But do you think it's still growing?
Growing,
I mean, like,
but not in an upward direction.
Okay, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's like more like, so for instance, like California, like, you know, it's heavily saturated. We've reached saturation. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, it should not hold any more people.
So is there new licenses coming up in California?
The gold rush is over. All that shit's gone, but that does not mean that people are not still showing up to go see if they can pan for whatever's left. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really like, you know, and certain people will disagree with that. And that doesn't mean that you can't still come up with a successful brand, but you're going to be taking somebody else's market share.
So question, and you probably know better than me, can Joe Schmo just go and get a license in whatever area out there?
Yeah. If
there's not a cap on licenses or anything?
Well, so it is asking Harry about
regulation.
Yes, I do know.
I'm sure it's different county to county and shit.
Each municipality does it differently. Like, for instance, Adelanto, one of the first ones to allow, like, you know, Type 7 licenses. Yeah. You know, other places were like, oh, well, whatever, you know, we'll dip our toes with Type 6. And then, or other places are like, look, we're just not allowing extraction. Other places are like, look, we're going to do it on a lottery. Other ones are like, you know, then you have places like Oakland that are going to give out stuff. They're like, okay, for instance, like if you're a minority, you're going to be doing it. And then there's other places where if you've been a victim of like cannabis arrests in the past, then it's called social equity.
Yeah, we did that here.
Okay, so there's social. There's a lot of different. Oh, nice. Yeah, dope. So there's a lot of different types of social equity that can that are done. There's other things that are lottery. There's other ones that are straight for sale. But I would say if you are going to California in order to purchase a license, or to acquire a license, I would say that just purchasing one from somebody who's acquired one is most likely the most
skipping all the red tape and shit.
Yeah, because the other shit is just like kind of crapshoots. Like I was trying to apply for retail, you know, like everybody was, you know. But I was having like, this is how crooked California is, dude. They're the most crooked state as far as like, I don't know, maybe Oklahoma, but not throwing shade. Yeah. But like we would have, for instance, like we'd be running in Adelanto. The city would come in and they'd be like, hey, we need a road paved. And ironically enough, the owner would be like, oh, tight. Well, tell me what road you need paved and we'll pave it for you. And they'd be like, nah, it's $30,000. We already got the guys. Like, yeah, because it's homeboy's fucking cousin. And plus, why am I responsible for paving another road over there? And they're doing it to be like, well, because if there's a fire at your really dangerous place, we need to get to it. So you need to pave it. But it's like a city road, like 3 blocks over. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, what the fuck? And like, obviously we all drove there.
They use cannabis companies to
they extorted the shit out of us.
Upgrade their infrastructure.
The FBI came in. You not heard about Adelanto, California?
Oh, yeah, very much.
Okay, yeah. So it was like, you know, it was kind of the pioneer area for legalization there.
Well, didn't some high-ranking official get fucking prison?
A lot of them. Yeah. So the city planner, I might be a little bit off in like the actual job title of what I say there. Like the city planner, like a bunch of people in the city council, like turns out everybody was taking bribes. Like, which is weird because I don't know if it was us who was giving it to them. We just thought that they were, I mean, it wasn't bribes. Like they were asking for money and telling us they were going to shut us down if we didn't.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a bribe. It felt like
fucking extortion to me.
Yeah, it felt like you had to do it.
Yeah, but we did. Yeah. Like they would pick and choose who they'd come and look at. They just come in and be like, we need this. And you're like, well, you're fucking damned if you do. Finally got so bad to the point where the last place that I had in Adelanto, they came in and they're like, we're coming in. And I was like, no, you're fucking not. As I come back with a warrant, then like these are the people that are supposed to like regulate you. I was just over it. And I just knew that they were going to come in and just start me from where, so we just kind of shut it down. Yeah. You know? So like you know, it's sad. And they did come back with a warrant too.
And I think when these municipalities, states, cities, whatever operate like that, they force a traditional market. They force a black market. They force the opposing side. And yeah, I don't know, man. Over-regulation's fucked, corrupt regulation's fucked, under-regulation's fucked. There's really no perfect, you know, unless they descheduled, I guess.
The whole problem that I have with, like, it just seems like across the board with cannabis, you get taxed, right? Yeah. Like, let's say you live in Texas and you sell marijuana, right? you get raided, they take your shit. Even if you don't get caught, well, you lost your shit. That's your tax. You paid.
Yeah.
Or you get arrested, and you got to do a bunch of shit. That's your tax. You paid. You know, but the problem is that when you have taxation without representation, that's the issue here, right? Yeah. So like, for instance, Adelanto is allowing me to exist. That is simply it. They're not doing anything cool for me other than just like, all right, Cole, you can do it here. But we're going to come in, we're going to get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I see that everywhere. I mean, you see it in Oklahoma. I mean, they're like, just pay us the money. We'll give you the license. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. But you pay us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why they just threw so many out. They weren't interested in designing, like, they weren't going for like, oh, free market for everyone. Like, you know, how, like, in my opinion, that's how it should exist. It should exist as very unregulated, but also at the same time too, with, I think, kind of like New Mexico. You know what I mean? Like, clearly, if these places are established and they're doing it correctly and they're passing, like, they're passing safeable enough products by, you know what I mean? That are like not even enough, just safe products in general. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to fucking sin tax the shit out of these people. Like, these are hardworking people. You know what I mean? Like, you make it so difficult that the black market will always prosper. Yeah. Like, there's no real way. I've done so much on the legal market. It's hard.
No, they need to treat cannabis companies like any other company. Safe banking needs to happen. You know, regulation needs to be at a minimum, in my opinion, a safety, you know, minimum. And yeah, let people do what we're gonna do. And, you know, we'll see.
With the exception of fucking letting them make disgusting ass corn dogs like Two Hands. That shit should be fucking illegal, dude. They're after me. I didn't even do anything, bro.
Yeah, no.
Somewhere out there, there's an asshole rubbing a fucking...
That place is going to kill some people.
That place is already... Those 4 people that we saw today, they're probably dead right now.
If they got that fucking 5-pack, they are.
Bro, they all ordered 5-packs. Rolled in sugar. It wasn't... Here's the thing. That's the most unhealthy thing that I've ever eaten that tasted like shit.
It wasn't even good.
Dude, how did you put so many things that are horrible for you together and make it that bad? Like, everything in life that's fucking bad for you, usually it's awesome. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, fucking... unprotected sex, you're fucked. Heroin, you're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, drinking too much, you're gonna crash and waste your life. Like, you know, I don't know, like, fucking, there's so many things out there that are just like these vices that are just garbage. You know what I mean? It's just like, but they're kind of cool, and that's why people still do them. You know what I mean? Not Two Hands. Some of those, but I'm just saying, like, sugar, delicious. Corn dogs, delicious. Cheese. Sugar and cheese, delicious. Cheese, sugar, corn dog mixed together, diarrhea.
Jesus Christ.
I would like to take a moment to apologize for anybody who came here for any type of knowledge about cannabis.
They're gonna we'll have Josh put a sickle description about it, you know, innovating new tech.
Like, no, yeah, dude, do something really technical, like simple home extraction.
Well, on that note, thank you for coming out, man. It was fun having you on.
Where can people find you? If you want people,
do you want to be found?
Social or anything like that?
Yeah, I had an Instagram for a while. I'm bringing it back. I think some people will be kind of stoked on it. It's Durty Harrie. It's about time I take it out of the archives. DurtyHarrie.
Nice.
Durty Harrie.
All right. Yeah, that's where I first started following you.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate you for having me out here. I'm super impressed with everything you're going out here.
Thank you, man.
You got such a great team. Everybody here is just a lot of fun to work with.
Thank you for helping teach. Thank you for spending the time to share your knowledge with them. I'm sure they're super grateful.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man.
The oil looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all that matters, right?
Yes, sir.
Machine works and the oil looks great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
See you, brother.